I know what you're thinking. Why am I wasting my time featuring this BMW X4 M40i right after BMW announced the X4 M competition? Well, it's mostly because I can't predict when a new car is going to be launched. I booked this like months ago, so I'm still going to do it. But not everybody needs a 510 horsepower balls to the wall sport activity vehicle. In fact, if you take a look at sales last year, the X3 M40i accounted for 19% of the total X3 sales here in Canada. The X4 M40i was 30% of all X4 sales for Canada. So people want the M Performance cars. They want the look and the power, or at least most of the power, without having to go to the full models. And now that the X3M and X4M is announced, I'm sure people will be looking at those. But people want something that they can use and live with on a daily basis. But is this right for you? So say hello to the G02. Now it doesn't have all the same tech that we saw last week on the 2019 BMW X5 xDrive 50i, but this is the second M Performance car that we featured from BMW after the M760Li last year. Now what's new for the G02? First of all, the N55 B30 engine has been replaced with the newer B58 B30 inline-6 twin-power turbo. It has the same power output at 355 horsepower, but it comes on a little earlier in the rev count. BMW also says that the 0 to 100 kilometer time has improved by 1/10 of a second, as this vehicle has gotten a little lighter and a little bigger at the same time. But a sport utility vehicle leads us to believe that it should be sporty, which, well, I guess this one is, but also provide utility. And BMW's shaved most of that off. I mean, you lose out on rear visibility, you lose out on rear headroom in the back seats, and you lose quite a bit of vertical storage capacity in the trunk. So why are people buying this? Well, last year, BMW sold 19,670 X3s all around the planet. They also sold 4,906 X4s, again, all around the planet. So for every 4 X3s they'll sell 1 X4. But it's interesting, those numbers are quite different here in Canada because they sold 8 X3s for every 1 X4. But go back to what I said before, 30% of the X4 sold here in Canada were M40i. So more people are buying this performance-oriented version of it, but more people are still buying the X3. So I can just imagine when the X3M and X4M and the competitions come out, the X3s will be exponentially more popular here in Canada. But still, I mean, 4,900 units across the planet is still not bad. So people are buying them. It's this, though, this whole everything going on back here. I just don't know what to say. Or do I? Right here, right now, I'm going to admit that I think the current generation BMW 3 Series Gran Turismo looks better than this. And I mean, nobody likes that car. But we've posted this online, people just can't get behind the back end of it. And I don't like it either. I thought maybe it would grow on me a little bit, but I mean, here we are. I just don't like it. First of all, you have a Volkswagen Golf style button here to open up the trunk. How fun is that? So, okay, I mean, if this was a true two-door coupe thing, the trunk space wouldn't be too bad, but it's an SUV meant to be a utility vehicle, and you don't get any utility back here. I'm not a huge fan of the look. We talked about it with the X5. I felt that the new design language looked really good on BMW's SUVs, and I said it translated better onto their bigger SUVs. This is like a weird X2 funky, I don't know what to say with it. And if you look here, this is all flimsy. I mean, this is not really solid. You can feel it hit the actual bumper part there behind the plastic. It's not giving me a whole lot of confidence, but maybe if we get inside, it'll get better. Nope, it doesn't get a whole lot better in here. And I know it maybe sounds like I'm pretty negative, in fact, completely negative, about this car. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of positive going on with it. I mean, the interior here isn't new, but BMW makes great interiors. It's functional, it makes sense. It's just not a huge shift from the previous generation. We featured 2 different versions of the F25 X3, so you can go back and take a look at it. And yeah, I mean, it is different, but it's not radically different. We have everybody's favorite tablet-style iDrive system up here, but it's still running iDrive 6.0. The digital gauge cluster is running BMW's old digital gauge cluster that we saw on the M760Li. So something like the new 3 Series has a more luxurious, a more modern interior, but this doesn't, and this is supposed to be the M Performance car. And would you look at the steering wheel? I mean, come on! We're not even getting the M Sport steering wheel for some reason in North America. Just on the X4 M40i's, there's no reason for it. You get an X3, you get it. You live in Europe, you get it. For some reason, though, we're getting the regular steering wheel on an M Performance car. Now, that might change. I've been on bimmerpost.com, and people have been complaining about it. Some people say they're getting it. Some people say they aren't. This one doesn't have it. It was the first thing I noticed when I got in here. So, it's not perfect. But people are still buying them. Why? Well, I think one of the main reasons why this exists and why there are people who are buying them has to go mostly to Mercedes-Benz and the success that they're having with their coupe SUVs. And I'm not saying they're selling thousands of them, but I do see more of the GLC coupes than I do the X4. So people seem to be interested by that body style. But there is some stuff going on with this car. 355 horsepower isn't the fastest, especially for an M Performance car. And it's also not going to feel as fast later this year when the new 2019 BMW M340i comes out. That's going to have about 382 horsepower, I believe. So more power from the sedan. It's lighter, it's nimbler, it's got more going for it. But people are still looking at this vehicle. It helps that the X4 M40i is near 50-50 weight distribution. It's almost there. It's kind of like the 4 Series when we were looking at it. The 3 Series is just a little off when it comes to that weight distribution, and so is this. But there is something about it that I do really find exciting. It's not quite exhilarating, not the same way that we saw with maybe the M760Li, but it is the exhaust. Oh yeah! You do have a little bit of turbo lag. Oh man! That thing is quick. Once you get it up to speed, once you get past the turbo lag, this thing picks up. And I really like the exhaust, especially if you're giving it some gas and you let go. There's a little bit of backfire like we heard with the John Cooper Works Countryman All 4 from last year. BMW has to be using a very similar exhaust setup between this and that vehicle because you can hear it. Shift down. Oh man, that sounds good. Ooh, I don't know if you can get it on the microphone here, but I'm telling you, I can hear it and it sounds really nice, especially from a 3-liter inline 6. I mean, this isn't a very big engine to begin with, but it really does get the job done. I do like it, especially driving it, full sport mode here. I have not used anything else but sport mode. I keep the transmission either in sport mode or in manual, as we're doing here. We're using the paddle shifters. Oh, that sounds good. But time it on your end. BMW says, again, they've shaved off 1/10 of a second for the 0 to 100 kilometer time. It's supposed to do it in 4.8 seconds. So we'll see if I can get it. Take a look at the time. See if I'm close, because I really do think I'm not using launch control or anything like that, just pure from a standstill, sport individual mode, basically sport plus, traction control on. That's about it. I'm just going to gun it. Oh yeah, there's that turbo lag. 100. It sounds so good though. And I know they're faking it. I know they're using fake noise. And unlike the M5, where BMW said, you know, we're not faking anything, it's just we do such a good job with sound insulation that we're just going to put the audio that actually comes from there. We've recorded the audio from the M5 and just pump it through the speakers, and they're doing that here. I don't care. I don't mind. It sounds good in here. I think it sounds just as good from the outside. If you're driving beside it and I'm giving it a little rip like this, I think it sounds nice. If I downshift it, whew, especially with that backfire, I know people can hear it because they look when it happens. Unfortunately, I can't really take it through our little testing area here. It snowed recently, so there's a lot of ice on the road, and I am not going to be dealing with that. But even going a little bit faster than we should through here, you can see that the car performs really well. It still drives like a BMW should. And you take it through the corners and it just hugs it. Ooh, and then you get the backfire and it's just puts a smile on your face. And again, that's the whole point of it. You want to be excited. And I know that the X4M will be better in every single way possible, especially with the steering wheel. Oh my God, man, this thing is depressing. But it still is a stepping stone up there. People are still going to buy the M40i versions after the X4Ms come out because they want something that they can live with every day. And you can certainly live with this every day. I'm quite happy being able to drive it around, push it when I wanted to, but yeah, if I want to put it into comfort mode and relax a little bit and just sort of chill, have a nice day. It's Sunday, taking it for a drive. You want to be able to go and have the auto start stop system come on, because I've noticed with this generation of BMW, they aren't off all the time. But still, you can have a leisurely little drive. But then all of a sudden, if you want to, you put it back into sport mode, ho-ho, and you're good to go. So what exactly have we learned with our week with the 2019 BMW X4 M40i? Well, first of all, fuel economy came in at 14.7 liters per 100 kilometers, or 16 US miles per gallon. We weren't able to take this on our test loop due to the limitations of the onboard computer through iDrive. But I do want to talk about some of the likes and dislikes. First off, the sound coming out of the exhaust is phenomenal, considering this is just a 3-liter inline 6. Also, the performance and acceleration was really good. We really were thrown into the back of our seats as we took this car to the maximum and really enjoyed driving it in full Sport Plus mode. The LED headlights worked very well, along with cornering lamps when you're turning the wheels, and the tri-zone interior climate control is a nice plus. Finally, the HD surround view camera system works very well, allowing you to set up geofence locations to automatically turn the cameras on, as well as having that automatic parking feature, which you can see more by clicking the link at the end of the video. But this isn't a perfect vehicle, at least not for me, and it might not even be for you, considering only 1 in 5 people who are looking at buying a BMW sport activity vehicle is going to be looking at the X4. Especially here in Canada, that number is even less. But I do like the fact that more of us here in Canada want the M Performance models, and it makes sense that BMW is finally offering a full M car in their compact segment. But some of the things that we really disliked really comes to the rear end design. We talked about it on the X5 that we like the new generation of SAVs from BMW, but it just doesn't translate the same onto their coupé. We're also disappointed with things like the older version of iDrive and the older digital gauge cluster. To be fair though, since this did come out a full year before the new X5 and the new 3 Series, we will probably see it with an LCI update. Will it come for 2020? It's unlikely, but maybe by 2021. The last thing that we really are disappointed with that is a huge bummer if you're buying this car is that M Sport steering wheel. The fact that you don't get it on an M Performance car is a huge letdown. One of the things that actually kills the interior vibe of the car, especially with the M badging throughout in the sport seats. So I'm not sure what the problem is. Like I said, online on Bimmer Post, people are talking about how they've run out of them, and that doesn't make sense. but maybe it does because it's not on this car. Some of them have it, European versions do have it, and I've heard that early production models of the 2019 M40i's do have it, but this is a later production model, I guess. So if you're buying it today, you might be getting the steering wheel. It is possible though to swap it out with the true M Sport one, so just something to note. But overall, I really have come to enjoy this car. And yeah, the design has grown on me a little bit more. It stands out, it's something different, it's unique, and that's really what I want out of a vehicle anyway. I want it to be quick, which this does. I want it to turn heads, which it certainly does. And it is unique because, again, only 1 out of 8 people here in Canada are buying the X4. So while there is a sea of X3s out there, I'll be one of the few driving this.